Once upon a time, in a village named Encancy, there lived a very beautiful girl whose beauty made everyone go crazy. Her name is Cynthia. Cynthia was a beloved and courteous girl, so loved by everyone and adored by everyone. Everyone knew she was going to be in higher places, for her beauty drew many rich men, many wealthy men who came asking for a bad price. But as time goes, people began to jealous. 3 friends, 3 bonds, 3 evil villains, always watched Cynthia walk through the village in jealousy. They hoped and prayed that she would grow up one day, but their prayers were never answered. Things became even more intense the moment the Prince of Encancy announced that he was going to get a bride for himself. Many women dressed, went to chambers, used all they could do, did all they could do, in the name of winning the prince's heart. But no one could ever match the beauty of Cynthia. This made the 3 girls worried. They were scared. They wondered if Cynthia was going to win the prince's heart. The 3 girls decided they had to do something to destroy Cynthia before it was too late. One morning, as Cynthia went to the stream to fetch water for her old mum, she met a handsome young man who was in need of help. She had no choice but to help the man and gave him some water. After that day, she saw him no more. Days passed. Weeks passed. Cynthia had heard of the announcement of the prince choosing a new bride. Yet, she did not make any effort in wanting to contest for the prince. All she ever wanted was to live a peaceful life with a man who would love and cherish her more than anything that ever existed. The prince himself had fallen in love with Cynthia. From the first day she had helped him and gave him water, he had fallen so deeply in love with her that he didn't want to conduct the ceremony of a chosen bride. Instead, he wanted to be with Cynthia. He explained everything to his father and his father advised he go deeper and deeper to know the woman he wants to marry. For that reason, the prince stood up, went out and looked for Cynthia everywhere. In the process of looking for Cynthia, he met these 3 villains, the 3 monsters in human form. Those girls were angry and annoyed when they realized the prince was only looking for Cynthia. They knew immediately that Cynthia had won the prince's heart. They decided they had to do something as fast as possible or else Cynthia would marry the prince. They helped the prince find Cynthia. And the moment Cynthia set her eyes on the prince, she felt something different. Something she could not explain. Something prickling her heart. She and the prince got so close together to the extent that she herself could not understand how and when it happened. Soon she began to fall in love with the prince. So deeply was she in love with him that she feared that he might leave her one day. Their bond grew stronger day by day and their love grew greater day by day. And the 3 girls grew hatred for Cynthia day by day. Soon the prince announced he was ready to get married. The people of Encancy were very shocked the moment they realized that the prince was no longer conducting the ceremony as planned but instead was going to marry Cynthia. Most people were not surprised it was Cynthia as Cynthia was so beautiful. Who wouldn't want to marry such a beautiful, kind and loving lady? Soon the ceremony for the wedding began. The 3 girls got worried, impatient and wanted to destroy everything. They went out and decided to look for a charm doctor. The charm doctor gave them a very great charm. A charm that would ruin Cynthia completely and break everything apart for Cynthia. The girls were very happy when they had the charm. The next day the wedding began. Celebration began. They all headed to the venue where the wedding would take place. They knew that before the wedding, Cynthia would have to conduct a test, a memory test, a mirror test, a test to prove she was human and not a monster as people of Encancy had many histories of monsters coming into their land and terrorizing their land. For the fear of the royal household of bringing forth monsters, this memory mirror test was done before marriage. The 3 girls set out to find Cynthia. They all praised Cynthia when they found her. They praised her to the skies, made her feel wild and happy and so special. Then, they stylishly put on the charm on her. Immediately, Cynthia fainted. The prince rushed to where Cynthia was. And when he asked the 3 girls what happened, they only told him that Cynthia was tired because of the sun. And any time she was under the sun, she was always weak and sometimes fainted, which was nothing but a big fat lie. By the time Cynthia woke up, the charm had disappeared from her neck and she had no memory of what the 3 girls did to her. Soon, people gathered for Cynthia to take the memory mirror test. Cynthia walked elegantly towards the mirror, ready to take the test and prove herself. But the moment she stood in front of the mirror, what the people saw made everyone go nuts. Instead of seeing the beautiful Cynthia reflection in the mirror, they saw an old monster, very ugly, disgusting and scary. Even Cynthia herself was shocked. She was too shocked to understand what was going on. The prince couldn't believe his eyes. So all this while, he has been dating and has been in love with a monster. Everyone began to lay claims at Cynthia. They began to insult her, throw stones at her, mock her. Cynthia had to walk away in shame, in pain and in disgrace. The 3 girls were so happy that they had to go out and celebrate Cynthia's downfall. They knew it was not impossible for the prince to want to get back with Cynthia. Cynthia herself was a shadow of herself. Every single day, every single night, every single morning, every single time of her life was filled with pain, agony, and disgrace. People walked past her house, whispering she is a beauty, but in her is a demon, a beauty in disguise. Fear them. Cynthia knew she was innocent. She was never a monster. Neither was her mother or her mother's mother or her father's father. She grew into depression, thinking day by day, staying away from society. Spent her days in her lonely hut. Then, she made a decision to end the shame, to end this agony, to end the depression. She decided to commit suicide, but she did not want to do it in the presence of her old mother. Instead, she set out to the bush. She walked through the bush deeper and deeper, ready to end her life as she saw nothing meaningful about her life anymore. As she walked through the bush, she met an old woman carrying logs of firewood. This old woman looked so helpless, faint, and tired. Cynthia had no choice but to help this old woman carry her firewood. She followed the old woman to where the old woman stayed. When they got there, the old woman thanked her and was grateful to Cynthia. The old woman noticed how gloomy she was and asked her what her problem was. Before Cynthia could reply, the old woman explained that she knew Cynthia and knows her problem, and she was going to help Cynthia. Cynthia was shocked. She had no idea what to say anymore. The old woman gave her a leaf filled with powder, a special powder, and this old woman told Cynthia she was going to follow Cynthia to the village square and would tell Cynthia what to do with the powder in the leaf. The two set out to the village square. As luck was on their side, the villagers were at the village square, playing, singing, and chatting. Cynthia and the old woman arrived at the village square, and Cynthia told everyone that she was going to prove her innocence, that she was not a monster. She knelt on before the villagers and blew the powder from the leaf. Immediately, the three girls who had planned Cynthia's downfall ran like madwomen towards them, squashing and screaming in pains. People who were curious decided to send for the prince, who came immediately. Soon, the girls began to confess all their crimes and what they had done to Cynthia out of jealousy. The people were shocked to realize that people could do this all because someone was beautiful than them. This made the prince so angry that he ordered they should be banished from the village of Encancy. After everything, Cynthia had no choice but to thank the old woman for vindicating her. The old woman told her not to worry, that her life would be filled with joy and happiness. And after that day, Cynthia never set eyes on the old woman ever again. The prince came back to Cynthia, begged for her forgiveness, pleaded with her that he was blinded and had no idea of what the three girls had did to her. Cynthia forgave him, and the two got back together. They spent months upon months making up and growing their bond fonder. Then, they decided to get married. Their marriage was filled with happiness, joy, and laughter. Many people were happy for the prince and Cynthia. They were happy that true love finally made it. As for the girls, they died mysteriously in the forbidden forest of Encancy. Lesson to learn. Jealousy will only lead you to disaster.